Hello Moment friends, Andang here on the beta server testing out update 19. We are taking a look at the premium housing area. This is inside that area, and as you can see there's an incredible view and it's just absolutely amazing. This area is absolutely huge. It's taken several minutes just for me to get to this part of the zone. This is about halfway through the housing area as it cuts off here and here. This area, the Bay of Belfalas, is actually between Western Gondor and Central Gondor. If you look here on Western Gondor, it's down here. And if you look over on Central Gondor, it is off to the left here. And this area is incredibly spread out. You can see there's houses just every so often. This is just a really big housing area. And this is premium housing. Now, the thing that is incredibly controversial about this premium housing...
Can I help you with something?
Has to do with the prices of the houses. If we look here, this is just a normal, what do they call it, stately house. So a premium stately house costs 145 mithril coins. That works itself out to be about 1,000 turbine points, which is $10. That alone is not too unreasonable. What is very controversial is that the upkeep cost is in mithril coins. That means that incredibly quickly you could be racking up large totals of upkeep costs with your house with the mithril coins. And if you notice over here on the left, this is not even the most expensive house. There are some that go for 445 mithril coins. That works itself out to about 4,000 turbine points. That's a lot of money. And then don't even get me started on the kin house, which is 745 mithril coins, which I assume the kin leader has to have those mithril coins, of which I don't believe are tradable. So I don't know how the kin leaders are going to be able to buy premium kin houses. This is an incredibly destructive strategy to what could have been an incredibly exciting update, and I'm hoping so much that these prices are only temporary. I should mention that these prices are on beta, they are subject to change, and hopefully they are only temporary and only placeholder ones. I don't know why they would have their placeholders be so high. I really hope that this is not the final cost because it will cause a lot of controversy. I think the initial cost of $10 for a house is not too bad. It's the upkeep of mithril that I have an issue with. Anyway, let's take a tour on one of the deluxe houses and see what we got here. So yes, this is a for sale house, and we are going to take a look here. As you can see, it has a fantastic view. They've done a great job with the zone design here. It's just a really beautiful area. There's boats going around. It's a really cool place. It's just the pricing that has become incredibly controversial. So here we are inside, and you can see the ceilings have the 7-sided stars of Gondor, which is just really cool. There's actually an upstairs to this place. And then an upstairs to the upstairs. This is really cool. It is a premium house. I mean, there's a dome with grass in it, and just this incredibly extensive house that just goes on for a long way. That map is certainly not accurate to what we are seeing here. I mean, the house has a dome in it. That is just really cool. I have to give him that. I am not going to give him a pass on pricing, though. That is just not good at all. A big mistake, in my opinion. So I guess that is on the ground floor back in here. Very cool. So much room in this place. I don't know how you would ever fill out this whole place. I'm sure there's some players who think that this is actually small. But I mean, this is a huge area on this house. And you have this large yard area. I mean, this is huge. So this shows how much money we have. And they do point out that upkeep is waived for VIPs. So what that means is that you can either pay this mithril coins every single month, which is less than a subscription, Or you can become a VIP and not have to worry about your mithril coins and just be able to you still have to buy the house for this huge amount of mithril coins, but after you buy the house, you don't have to worry about it. You are VIP until you stop subscribing, that is. And then you lose your premium house. This seems to be a very destructive model. It's good for VIPs, I suppose, but for the rest of their player base, it's kind of a slap in the face. This is a very expensive model, and I do realize that this is an optional model, but they could have made so much more money, in my opinion, by making this be much more accessible to a wider base of players. I feel like that this is a very destructive model for housing and goes against a lot of what Turbine has built in the game of their just very open, great free-to-play model, and it feels somewhat broken at this point. Okay, so we're back here at the vendor. We're going to go ahead and buy this house, and keep in mind that mithril coins and turbine points are not the same on beta server, so I'm not actually spending money on this. This is just the play money that you get on beta server. So we're going to go ahead and buy this house. And congratulations on buying a premium house. Unlike classic housing, you may own as many premium houses as your money allows. If you don't have a VIP account, be sure to pay your weekly upkeep. You can pay up to 26 weeks in advance via the Housing Management panel. The House panel contains information about your houses, and allows you to travel directly to them. Access your housing panel via the Start menu under Character. Let's go tour this house. This house that's now ours. Andang's house. Let's actually have a look. You're now in decoration mode. Okay, so large yard, huge yard, large yard, small yard. So, I mean, this is a sizable, enormous yard. What? Look how huge this is! Good grief, that is a huge plot. Don't get me wrong, I'm not justifying this. I still think it's ridiculous that they even have the hook system in the first place. And especially with premium housing, I would have thought they would have gotten rid of the hook system. So this is the smallest premium house that you can get, as far as I know. I mean, it's fairly small as far as these things go. And you can see there are quite a few hooks in here. There's a chest that just has normal storage. And guess what? If you want to add space, well, I guess you can pick gold or mithril. But, you know, fairly expensive. It's like at every turn they're wanting to charge you a bajillion mithril. But if you do not like this system, respectfully, post on the forums explicitly stating that you don't like the pricing of this system. And it's explicitly stating what part of the system's pricing you don't like. So if you don't like the fact that there's mithril in general, then post that. If you don't like the fact that there's upkeep required with mithril, post that. Or if you're happy with it, post that as well. Let Turbine know what you think about their model. This is a really long house. I think I actually like this house better than I do the previous house that was more expensive. This is actually a very sizable house. I'm not sure if these are appropriately priced. The other house is not more than double mithril larger, I don't think, unless it's just a lot larger plot of land. So I don't know where they're getting these prices from. So here we have our second house, and as we can see, the upkeep cost is 15 mithril. If we go to maintenance here, the only way to pay this is through mithril, although it does say 10 mithril here, which is kind of weird. But as you can see, with 40 mithril coins, that's just paying out 1 month. And if we look at the upkeep on here, it's supposedly 15 mithril, and so the upkeep would really be 60 mithril coins if this is correct. That means every 2 months you'll be paying over 100 mithril coins on just the cheapest premium house. That is crazy. That means that you're essentially paying $10 every 2 months for housing alone. That is so much money. And then they even point out, note, any currency spent on upkeep will not be refunded. Well, that's great. This whole system just feels like a very sleazy method to be getting as much of the mithril coins out of the player base as possible. This is just horrible in my mind. Let's go back to that housing vendor and relook at these prices. So just in upkeep alone for this luxurious house, you will be paying over 1,000 mithril coins, which translates to over 8,000 turbine points, or close to $80, assuming you consider one turbine point equals 1 cent. That means that it is just $20 less to upkeep a luxurious house per year than it is to get the $100 1-year VIP. Only a $20 difference just for housing upkeep, albeit of the higher end of the houses, but the lower ends are not that much better at 15 upkeep cost. But that's not even the worst of it, because there's also the Kinship house that you could have if you're a kin leader wanting to have the Deluxe Kinship house. The upkeep for this is 30 mithril coins, which translates to over 1,500 mithril coins per year. That translates to 12,000 turbine points, or essentially $120 a year. That is $20 more than VIP costs if you get the 1-year VIP for $100. These prices are unbelievable and a huge disappointment for a player base who has been wanting improved housing for a long time. And this had the potential to be absolutely amazing, and still does, mind you, if these prices are not final. The huge issue is just how high mithril upkeep is. I mean, 30 mithril upkeep per week for a kin house is kind of insane. Are players going to start lobbying with real money to help support their kinship? I mean, even the initial purchase cost of a kin house is kind of crazy at over $50 essentially in turbine points. It's over 5,000 turbine points just to purchase the kin house in the first place. I really hope that these mithril prices are not final. And don't get me wrong, I know that players don't have to purchase this system, and that this is just quality of life stuff that's on top of the system, and I totally get that. But if there are not going to be very many players that take advantage of this system, then what's the point of having the system to begin with? And maybe there will be a lot of players that take advantage of it, but it's at an extreme cost for a housing system that is not even that great. It's still on the hook system. I seriously hope that this does not turn into the Warsteed cosmetics issue once again, where, if you remember, with Warsteed color cosmetics, we had to buy not only the individual color groupings of multiple colors, and so we couldn't just buy an individual color, we had to buy it inside of these packs. The packs for the armament on the steed was different than the color choices for the steed itself, and so you had to essentially buy multiple color packs to get both of just one color variety that you might even want, and it ended up costing way more than a lot of players thought it was worth. And so instead of having this open colorization that a lot of players thought would happen, where it would be fairly inexpensive to get these large variety of colors, it ended up being much more expensive, especially for players who wanted to get all the different color varieties. This housing thing feels like a similar situation, where it is incredibly expensive if you're not a VIP player to be using this housing system and upkeeping your house. Why do I want to pay rent for a house with real money in a virtual world? A world that's supposed to be about escapism and getting away from things like bills to pay and stuff like that. This is ridiculous, and I hope Turbine changes it. I would be glad if there was no upkeep cost in Mithril, or if it was very, very, very minimal. This, to me, seems like a very clear cash grab by the studio, and I think it is absolutely disgusting. I severely hope that these prices are temporary and are not intended to be final. As you can see, I really don't like this system. But I am interested in what all of you think. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the pricing for housing, what you think about the different Upkeep versions, and let me know how you think you could make this system better for not only the consumer side of things, but also for turbine side of things, so that there is a balance between the two. What you think of the housing options themselves taken outside of the price, and just what you think about this system as a whole. I am very interested to see what all of you think. Let me know once again in the comments below. And if you don't like the pricing of this system, be sure to post on the forums very respectively what you don't like about the system in particular. Be very specific, but also very respectful about what you don't like about this system on the forums, so Turbine can hopefully change these prices to be something more reasonable that will make a larger number of players happy about this system. Already it seems players are responding to this, but be sure to comment to make sure Turbine knows, and let Turbine know what price you would pay for this system so that they can get a better idea of just how many players might actually spend money on the system at a different price point. So once again, let me know in the comments below what you think of this premium housing that is potentially coming with Update 19. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for more content. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button below, and if you'd like to see more of my daily content, feel free to subscribe, and you'll be notified when that new content comes out. And also, if you'd like to help support my channel and help me continue to create high quality videos, feel free to support me on Patreon, and you can get all sorts of great rewards in the process. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for another video.